4 people were murdered in this town. Different places, different lives, different methods. The police were certain there was no connection. They were wrong, because all 4 victims had been in the same place on the same day.
A story that will give you chills, Mert, and stay with you long after it ends. Welcome to the Crime Night channel.
Residents of Greenville, a small town near North Carolina, never believed something like this could happen to them. But within just 1 month, the town was shaken by 4 brutal murders. No witnesses, no clear evidence, no visible connection between the victims. Fear became part of daily life. Parents stopped sending their children to school. People avoided going out at night. And the police were under enormous pressure to find answers they simply didn't have. The first victim was Kevin Brooks, a 27-year-old lawyer. His body surfaced from the river, already in an advanced state of decomposition. Still, dark marks were clearly visible around his neck, indicating strangulation with a rope or something similar. His hands showed signs of a struggle. The second victim was Nora Mitchell, a 23-year-old college student from New York, who had come to Greenville to visit her parents before returning to school. Her body was found by the side of the road near a park, wrapped in a garbage bag. She had been beaten to death with a blunt object. In nearby bushes, investigators found a wrench covered in blood. The blood belonged to Nora. The fingerprints on the tool did not match anyone in the database. The third victim was Marcus Reed, a 29-year-old auto mechanic. He was found in his garage, inside a car with the engine running. At first, it looked like carbon monoxide poisoning, but the autopsy revealed Marcus had been dead before the engine was turned on. He had been struck precisely in the back of the head. The fourth victim was Olivia Grant, a nurse, found dead in her apartment. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle. The only unusual detail was a broken watch on her wrist, stopped at exactly 1:43 a.m. Next to her body was a small plastic bag containing fine metal dust. 4 different locations, 4 different methods of murder. 4 people who, at first glance, had nothing in common. Detective James Walker, who was leading the case, began to suspect that the answer lay in something small that everyone had overlooked, and then something accidental happened. A technician in the forensic lab noticed that the metal dust found near Olivia was almost identical to the tiny particles found on the wrench near Nora's body. Walker ordered all the evidence to be re-examined. The same metal traces were found on Marcus's clothing and on Kevin's jacket. Now something was connecting them. But what? None of them worked for the same company. They had no mutual friends. They didn't live in the same part of town. But all of them, within the last month, had been at the same place. An old industrial warehouse on the outskirts of Greenville, recently converted into a co-working space and workshop for young entrepreneurs. Kevin had provided legal consulting there. Nora had attended a student workshop. Marcus had come to repair the ventilation system. Olivia had volunteered at a medical booth during one of the events. Walker goes to the warehouse. Inside are metalworking machines. All over the floor, tiny metal shavings. The same dust. But hundreds of people had passed through that hall. The investigation stalls again, until Walker requests a list of employees who are always present. One name appears at every single event: Liam Carter. But what connection could this ordinary worker possibly have with the 4 victims? And why would a simple worker kill 4 people without any visible motive? The man who kept entry records. The man who unlocked the building every morning. The man who was always there. And the man no one remembered. Walker finds him sitting calmly in a small office inside the warehouse. On the desk in front of him are photographs of all 4 victims. Walker asks him why. Liam answers calmly, because they were all here that day. What day? Walker asks. Liam looks up. The day my brother died in this warehouse. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. A few months earlier, Liam's brother had been severely injured by one of the machines. The machine was faulty. People were present. Kevin was the lawyer for the company that covered up the accident. Nora was a witness who stated she had seen nothing. Marcus signed documents declaring the machine safe after repairs. Olivia was the nurse who came, looked at the injury, and said it wasn't serious, just a blow to the head with a little more blood than usual, and that everything would be fine. Liam's brother later died from that head injury due to bleeding in the brain. They all stayed silent. For them, it was just another incident. For Liam, it was his entire world. The murders were not random. They were punishment. When he was arrested, Liam did not resist. He only said, "They didn't think it mattered. But to me, it was everything." The town finally had its answer. But Detective Walker knew the most disturbing part of the entire case was this. The killer was a man everyone saw, Eve, and no one ever noticed. The true killer from the shadows.